got it! And diving catch! I can feel it coming in night. Oh, I've been waiting for this moment all my life.
Under an hour away from the final game of Week 1 of the National Football League season. It's Monday Night Football here in Chicago, where that man grew up about 13 miles away. He was a high school star before he went down to IMG and then to Michigan, and now against the team he grew up rooting for, quarterbacked by that man, the #1 pick in the same draft a season ago out of USC. New head coach in Ben Johnson. How will it look? Can't look a whole lot worse than it did at the end of last year, but this is a great sports city, and it is fired up on an absolutely perfect day as we are here on the field in Soldier Field. It's Monday Night Countdown, and we are 5 wide, but we've always got room for a little football royalty. It's the Hall of Famer and three-time Super Bowl champion Troy Aikman alongside Troy. Great to have you with us. And there's so many storylines, just talking to Joe, that are interesting that we really don't know what we'll get. We'll find out in about an hour. I want to start with the McCarthy piece. Christian Darrisaw, his tackle, is not going to play. You add that to the mix, and it's his hometown. It's the team he grew up rooting for, and now he plays against him on Monday Night Football. How do you process it in a way that allows you just to play the game?
Well, I think the good thing for JJ is the fact that he has been in big games. Now, it's been a couple of years since he last played in a real football game, and he is yet to play in an NFL game, of course, and really understand the speed of the game. He's been in some preseason games. He only took 12 preseason snaps in the first game, so he hasn't played in a number of weeks going into this. But I think there is a lot of pressure on this young man's shoulders, considering the fact that they were so good last year. But he's got a lot of good pieces around him, and I think the fact that they upgraded the offensive line, I believe it's going to start there. They've still got Justin Jefferson, and he, of course, is going to be a big part of this. But I do think they're going to run the ball more in Minnesota than what we've seen in prior years.
And I'm going to say this, and I don't want to put this pressure on J.J. McCarthy. The last time we saw something like this with a player picked around where he was picked was moving on from Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes. And I don't think he has, or I'm not saying he has that sort of potential, but Alex Smith had taken Kansas City to the playoffs. Andy Reid was a quarterback whisperer. We say all of those same things about Kevin O'Connell. When a guy like that makes a decision to move on from what he feels is a proven commodity to a young player, I believe they know something. I believe that they feel something. They know that this kid has the goods to eventually be a very good player in this league. But when you have a team that excels the year before, they want to see dividends paid right now. So how quickly can he adjust to the NFL game and become a presence for this team to win?
T.A., I asked you a lot of questions off camera. I asked you a million questions off camera. I'm so glad I can ask you a question on camera. Is there a point in this game? You've covered a lot of rookie quarterbacks making their first starts. You've played the position at a very high level. Is there a moment where you'll be able to tell if J.J. McCarthy has settled in? And what are those signs?
Yeah, I do think there'll be a stretch. I think, for me anyway, every game it tends to slow down at some point. I think it's going to be moving at warp speed for him to begin this game, and that's why I believe that Kevin O'Connell, like any good play caller, is going to try to get him into a rhythm. I would expect him to move the pocket a little bit, some easy completions. But at some point, he's going to have to deliver a key third down throw. And how he does that, does he look poised? Does he do it with confidence? You can start to see whether or not a quarterback is really feeling himself and making the throws in the time that he needs to.
And the reason I asked that question, Scott and J.K., you know this as well, we smell that on defense.
Oh, yeah.
When you uncomfortable and you kind of unsure, or if it's moving too fast for you, that's when we tell the defensive coordinator, hey, man, send one more.
Blood in the water.
Or send a couple more, right? Or let's run some games up front. So I'm interested to see how that game is played with him settling in and what Chicago decides to do with Dennis Allen if they do catch that he's not comfortable with what needs to be done out there.
And that's one really interesting storyline. But the other one for the home team is the guy that went #1 last year, who gets this guy in Ben Johnson, who we saw how he helped dial things up in Detroit, and now he's here. In sitting with the head coach and the quarterback, Troy, what is it that Ben is looking for from Caleb as they begin to ramp this up?
Well, I think that in this offense, what Ben Johnson wants is really somewhat of a point guard, and that can deliver the football, get it to the people, make good decisions. 68 sacks last year.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't have that. And yes, the offensive line needed him to be improved. That has happened, but I really look at sacks as primarily a quarterback stat. And so when you take 68 sacks, you're holding on to the football way too long. We know we've got to speed them up. They talked about it last year, and that's what Ben Johnson, that's the challenge. And to speed them up, get them under center, we'll see more of that. But that's what I'm going to be watching early. Is he getting through his progressions? Is the ball coming out in a timely manner?
That was the one thing I wanted to ask you, Troy. It is so frustrating playing O-line when the ball is getting pat.
Yeah.
What are the things that they can do to get the ball out quickly?
Well, that's the thing. To me, the only way, especially a lot of these college quarterbacks come into the league and they're shotgun quarterbacks. Yeah. They're not used to being under center, and most of them, there's no real resemblance of timing throwing to receivers, and the receiver being where they're supposed to be, the quarterback getting the ball out when it's supposed to come out. And I think the easiest way to get a young quarterback in that kind of timing is to get him under center and do 5, you don't see as many 7-step drops as you once did, but 3-step, 5-step drops. Plant your foot, play action game. It would encourage him to speed things up quite considerably.
Awesome.
I have so many more questions.
No, I had one too. Marco's like, let's wrap it up here.
I have so many more questions. If I could ask you in a paragraph, is it more important for the coach to teach the quarterback his scheme and say this is what we're running, or more important for the coach to understand this is what my quarterback's good at and have him excel in his talents?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's a great question, and everyone says the great coaches adjust to the personnel, and there's truth in that. But Ben Johnson's enjoyed a lot of success doing it a certain way. He's had a lot of success against the Minnesota Vikings doing it a certain way. So it's a balance in doing what Caleb does best, but also incorporating some of the things that Ben Johnson knows and has been proven to be successful at this level.
You got a game to call. It's great to be back with you. Look
Good
forward
to be with you guys.
Always.
Yes,
Look
sir.
forward to talking to you when this is done and we have a whole lot more clarity on what tonight looks like. The great Troy Aikman will be with Joe Buck, of course, on the call. It is Monday Night Football here in Chicago, J.J. McCarthy's hometown. We welcome in That's Lisa Salters, and we've talked so much about it, and we'll continue to. J.J. McCarthy, not far from here is where he grew up as a youngster, rooting for the hometown team, and now dive in the deep end, play against Chicago to start your career. What's the sense of how prepared he is and how they'll ease him into a moment you really can't be eased into?
Yeah, Scott, well, J.J. McCarthy told us it's definitely cool, definitely special to be making his NFL debut here at Soldier Field, where he grew up, rooting for the Bears as a kid. But he said he'll save all that feel-good stuff for post-game. Out on the field tonight, he said he's going to be focused on attacking the game plan, just doing his job, not trying to do too much. Kevin O'Connell said he expects McCarthy to be excited and maybe even have some nerves, but he said McCarthy has to find a way to fight that by being razor sharp with the details and controlling what he can control. O'Connell said he told McCarthy, we don't get to blame nerves or adrenaline if the footwork isn't right or if your eyes aren't in the right place. So just focus on doing your job. O'Connell said he wants to make tonight as simple as possible for his young quarterback, like you guys were saying, keeping in mind that it's just week 1. He said he wants to give McCarthy as many layups as possible, knowing that those 3rd and 7 moments, they're going to be there. And KOC said, we don't want JJ thinking he has to be perfect or he has to play at a championship level right away, saying we're going to figure out how to move the ball, how to win games, and we're going to evolve as the season goes on. Scott?
Because everybody that loves sports is super patient, and they're happy to wait.